Donald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today. Today's hosts are Francis Chang, he is their Director of Sales, and Hugo Arroyo, a product management person, and they will both be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, submit them in the question box so that both Francis and Hugo will be able to answer them at the end of today's presentation. Thank you guys so much for being with us today. We greatly appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing what you have to share with us. I am finished for now, so please go ahead and take it on over.
Thank you, Julie, for the kind introduction. Hello, everybody. This is Francis from Vertical Cable, Director of Sales. Been with the company for 20 years. For those who don't know Vertical Cable, here's a quick introduction. We are master distributor and also manufacturer for low voltage cabling for both copper and fiber solutions. We attend a lot of trade shows. I just want to get the message out for now. For those who are attending ISC West, we will have a booth over there and also happy hour. So if you are interested, please reach out to Judy. Let us know. We will send you the complimentary pass. With that, I will pass the baton to Hugo. Hugo, please take it over.
Thank you, Francis. Thank you, Julie, and thank you everyone for attending the webinar today. My name is Hugo. I've been with Vertical for a little bit over 2 years now. My background is product management and also as a former installer myself. So a little bit about of what we do. As Francis mentioned, we are a manufacturer of low voltage cabling, not only on the copper, but all those ancillary products, but we also make fiber and all the products that go along with fiber. For some of you that have joined us in the past for some of these webinars, prior to today's webinar, we discussed how to get fiber to the different locations. For example, this slide that you see on the screen, you'll have typically your MDF room, your main distribution room. That's where everything comes in. Those are your ISP providers come in there, your NVRs, everything is on that MDF room. Then you have fiber runs to the different locations, and each locations are IDF rooms, intermediate distribution frames. And then obviously sometimes you have copper out to those remote access. So in general, for those of you who again, as I stated, have joined us in the past, we're a little familiar on this diagram that we see here on the screen. But we really wanted to start digging into these different products, these different set of products, what goes into it, how they're terminated, how they're used, where they're used, and the different products that go along with it. So again, in the past, we discussed the various enclosures that we've used. For some of you that deal in some of the manufacturing side or the industrial side, we have DIN rail enclosures. We also have wall mount enclosures. These are great for locations where you have shared services. A lot of places don't have dedicated computer rooms, so they probably use a room that is shared with the janitorial, custodial work, but we want to make sure fiber is accessible. We also have rack mount, various versions of the rack mount units. In today's discussion, we're going to be discussing primarily the rack mount versions. Again, we have different sizes to accommodate different applications. So this one in particular that you see on the screen is our biggest fiber enclosure. It is 4 rack spaces and it holds 12 LGX adapter plates. The LGX adapter plates, what you see are those blue slots that you see on the front. Those are what's considered LGX. Now, they come in various sizes and various fiber types. Like I said, this one, 12, will hold up to 244 fibers in this one for you rack enclosures. So typically where you would use these is, again, at the MDF room. This is where everything comes in, from the service providers to different floors that we're servicing. Everything usually resides in that MDF room, and this is where you would typically see something like this. Now, for the IDF rooms, you'll have a few, like a 6 LGX. This is only 2 rack spaces, but we've gone from 12 to 6. Where would you use these? Typically the IDF room, intermediate. These are servicing the particular floors that we're dealing with. So as the fiber comes in from the MDF room, it gets broken down to these locations, like this one in particular, which holds only 6 adapter plates. Then you have the much smaller version. This is by far our #1 seller. It holds 3 LGX plate in a 1U. It'll accommodate anything anywhere between 6 fibers all the way up to 72 fibers. So again, this is a perfect match for those smaller installations at the IDF rooms. So again, 3 different sizes that we accommodate to accommodate anything from 244 all the way up to, I'm sorry, from all the way from 6 all the way up to 244. Now, let's look at this. Let's look at the internals. What makes and what do we need inside these enclosures? So here's my desk. I have a 1U rack space. So as we open this up, typically your fiber will come in from these cable entry points. Cable comes in, you have multiple entry points depending on the type of box that you're using. This one has one on the left, one on the right. Cable comes in, it gets tied down to these points here. These are called lance bridging. So depending on how the cable's routed, it'll come in this way, or down from the sides. As cable comes in, it needs to be stripped. Now, each one of these tubes that you see here holds 12 fibers in each one. They are stripped down, and you'll see one that I've already pre-stripped. This is what the fiber looks like on the inside. There's 12 strands here. This fiber gets looped around and around and around. And this serves as a slack as we're dealing with this. Now, this particular fiber, I cannot terminate. I cannot put, this is about the size of a strand of hair. See if I can focus this in. It's about the size of a strand of a hair. So I can't really put a connector on this. So what do? Well, in order to terminate this, we need what's called a splice tray. What is a splice tray? Basically, it looks like this. It sits right in the middle of the enclosure. Fiber comes in, it gets looped, and it's called the splice tray because we need a fusion splicer like this one on the screen in order to terminate the glass. What is it doing? What we're doing is welding the glass together. So this machine, what does, it melts the glass and fuses them together. This is what's called the fusion splicer. So as the cable comes in, it gets looped, it goes into a splice tray. Now, again, this is only if we're using a splicing mechanism. There are other methods of terminating fiber, but this one by far is the most common and most practical one to terminate. So cable comes in, we have that. Now, how do we weld or glue these connectors? We have what's called pigtails. Why is it called the pigtail? Well, one side's terminated, the other side isn't. So again, what we do is that we use the fusion splicer. We take the strands that we have here with the strands that we have here, we line them up with the colors, and they get spliced into a splice tray. Then we end up with actual connectors. Now, as in all great, it's already in the oven. I'll pull it out of the oven. This is what it looks like. It is now spliced. Now, once these are spliced, those are the pigtails that we were discussing here, right? Now we go with what is the coupler panels. These are the coupler panels. Basically, this sits right in front, here in the front of the enclosure. Right in front. And this is where you would plug into your circuit. This is your circuit. So now you have incoming fiber, gets looped around. This gets, depending on how it's terminated, it is fusion splice with the splicer to a pigtail. Pigtails, the connector goes into this coupler panel. Why is this important? Well, what's the worst case that can happen is if we don't use an enclosure like this and we just go directly from a cable into an equipment, this is glass, remember guys. So this can actually easily crack. So we always want to put this in some sort of an enclosure. Now this gets, once this is all done, it gets covered up and this is mounted on the rack. Now, worst case comes to worst, if something ever happens and why we want to use this, from here in the front, you have patch cords. Plugs in, patch cords. Now this goes out to your end equipment. Chances are if something happens or something breaks, the cable that's coming between the floors is protected. So if anything happens and something cracks or something breaks, an easy repair is just a patch cord. So anytime we're dealing with fiber, we always want to use some sort of enclosure as we're dealing with fiber. Now this one in particular is a rack mount version. The wall mount is just the same. The only thing that changes is the footprint or the format of the enclosure itself. But in gist, it requires the same ancillary products. It still requires a splice tray, pigtails, coupler panels. Everything is the same. The only thing that changes is it goes from a rack to a wall. Now, the other benefit is that this is easily serviced. So if I need to move any adds, moves, or changes, I can all do is just unplug. If I did to direct terminations, that becomes much more difficult to do any adds, moves, or changes. So that's that. Now, here's the other thing. As far as these coupler panels, we have a variety of coupler panels. So there are so many variations depending on what your application needs are. Anywhere from SC to LCs or at some of the legacy connectors that are not shown here. We do have multiple options. Now, again, these are all interchangeable. So it's basically what type of connector that we require and the connector that requires and the type of fiber, whether it's multi-mode or single mode. And really the only difference between any of these connectors is just basically the color. It's an easy way to color ID the connector itself. It tells you what, if it's single mode, if it's multi-mode, if it is multi-mode, what type of multi-mode, if it's single mode, what kind of single mode. For example, greens are APCs, blues are UPCs. You have the different connector type. Duplex, these are 4 fibers in one connector. And then you have some of the much newer connectors like this here, which is an MPO connector. This one holds up to 24 fibers inside one connector. So you can really stack this up quite a bit inside the enclosure. Now, again, all enclosures will come with the spools already included. It maintains, with fiber, we have to maintain the bend radiuses. So these spools are engineered to maintain adequate bend radiuses for that fiber as it gets spooled. The same thing with the splice tray. Now I didn't show this, but how does it come in? Once the fiber comes in, this is where you would actually weld the glass itself. These are the splice sleeves and the splice holder. So this cable here comes into here and is actually spliced in here in via this machine. This, you have one on each side. Cable comes in here. Once that's done, it comes into here, and this is how that is done. So the other important aspect when we're dealing with fiber optics is cleaning. Cleaning is one of those important things that people don't realize. We're talking about a couple of dollars for these one-click cleaners. They come in various sizes. I'm sorry, not various sizes, various connector type. Bottom of the picture, you'll see a couple of images that I've taken what dirty fiber or dirty end face looks like. When I'm talking about end face, I'm talking about this little white tip there. That little white tip, that is what you see on the screen. So just a simple touch of the end creates all that image, and it creates a lot of damages, a lot of errors with telecommunications or the transmission of those telecommunications. On the screen, you'll see what that looks like. A lot of that is oil, dust, dirt. It's just filth that's in the connector, and a lot of it is just by product of the manufacturing process, or just the static that comes to the connector, or improper handling of the connector. So how does this work? Well, this connector, there's a couple different forms of this connector, versions of this connector. So this cleaner. So this cleaner, you can actually click the end of the connector, and it's called one click because you hear the click. So it's like a dental floss that goes in that connector, and it actually cleans the connector as you push it in. Now, you can also not only clean that, but can you imagine if you had to clean a patch panel like this? You don't want to start removing these connectors from the back. So this little wand, you can actually remove the little attachment, and you can actually inside the connector and clean it from the inside. So just like that, pushes it in, and it cleans the connector. Most of the troubleshooting that is done with fiber optics, the first thing anyone from tech support is going to say, did you clean the fiber? Because between the act of handling fiber from packaging to the machine to here and plugging everything in, that creates a lot of dust, a lot of dirt, a lot of grime. So it's important that for a couple of dollars, every technician that does fiber should have these in their pocket. So again, simple, clean, cleans various connectors. It's actually one of those steps that needs to be done on a daily basis. Not a daily basis, but as you start, when you start installing fiber, it needs to be cleaned. Julie, with that being said, I am done. Mr. Francis, if you'd like to add your closing statements.
Thank you so much, Hugo. Go ahead, Francis.
Yeah, I just want to say, wow, thank you for another very comprehensive presentation. I know fiber is good for us, but I used to see fibers very hard to chew and digest. But with Hugo's presentation, it makes it very easy. I cannot thank you enough, Hugo. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for that wonderful presentation. I'm so happy to have you with us today for this. And now we do have some questions. If you guys are ready, I could get started with the first one.
Please.
Okay, here we go. Can you tell us, are there any upcoming improvements to your structured cabling solutions? Anything you could share with us in that area?
Do you want to take a stab at it, Francis, or you want me?
Yeah, I can try to see, if this answer relevant. Vertical cable, we always have that, our philosophy is to save customers time, energy, money. For the improvement, we start with the tool that we have. It's a crimping tool for keystone jacks, and make it very easy to punch down, cut in all at once. So, save time, people time, energy, and money. And with the same philosophy, we designed an end-to-end solution system from the jack to rack. As you can see in Hugo's presentation, we provide everything to make it easy along the way. My answer is not getting to the technical part of it. I understand. If Hugo, you have anything else to add, please go ahead.
Sure. So I'm always looking out for how can I make our products better, easier for technicians. I always look at it from a technician perspective, because again, as a former technician myself, I want to make sure that whatever product I'm using, it's very easy. So yes, there are some innovations on the draft board. hopefully we would see some of these new products start to come to market pretty soon. But yes, to answer your question, yes, we do have some innovations there. We're going to be moving forward in the near future, along with some new products to add to the portfolio to help fill out and truly make us a one-stop shop for most of your datacom needs or low voltage needs.
Excellent.
Thank you,
Thank you
Hugo.
guys so much.
And Judy, I want to add something. We always update those new improvements on our website. So, please visit our website, verticalcable.com, and you will see all, what's new, the new products, all new event, as I mentioned, for the trade show. So everything else, information is right there, updated.
Thank you so much for that, Francis. Here's the next question, guys. It reads here, are you planning any products designed specifically for Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 7 deployments?
So a lot of our products and where we fit in the market is on the physical layer. So getting cabling to different parts of the infrastructure of the network. So depending on how that router or that access point is connected, we probably have a solution for it. But again, we are not a wireless access point company. What we do is just the infrastructure to enable connectivity.
Thank you so much. Please.
I went to CES this year, January. We see a lot of people come up with Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7. We definitely, are interested in finding out, as a connectivity provider, what can we do? What we find out is that to support Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7 from vertical cable, it's our fiber cable, who has the bandwidth to cover that, and our Cat6a shielded cable to be put in that kind of environment. That's basically what I know, and we are still learning in the process to find out what else can we provide.
Thank you guys so much for that. I'm going to go to the next question. Do you offer any training resources for installers who are new to structured cabling?
Yes. And I'm the one that does that. So yes, we do offer training. Some of those trainings are accredited with certain organizations in the industry. But yes, we do offer a call it a 101 or 102 training course that covers proper terminations, bend radiuses, the do's and don'ts of that. I hate to use the term, it's like dummies for installers or something to that effect. But yes, we do offer training.
Thank you so much for that. I'm going to go right to the next question here. Do you expect Wi-Fi 7 to significantly change cabling requirements?
Okay, so personally, you always are going to need wire to get to those access points. So what we're seeing is a changing of the guard, that from actual drops on the wall at your desk, a lot of those drops are going in the ceiling. Not only from access points, but security cameras, also PoE devices, lighting is a huge one. So it's changing from the wall connection and plugging in your PC, let's say, to in the ceiling, lighting, access points, cameras. So no, cable will always be there, and it's going to be a prominent backbone to any infrastructure.
To add to that,
sure.
To add to that, if there's any change, it will be, everything from Wi-Fi 5, 6, 7, it all has something to do with the bandwidth. It's the bigger the bandwidth of the cable, the better. So it will also request for cable that can deliver a huge, better, larger bandwidth. And that's what I mentioned, the fiber cable generally does better than the copper cable in this situation.
Thank you so much for that. Next question here. Are there any products that are currently in especially high demand right now?
That's a loaded question. A lot of it, yeah, because again, it just depends on the particular segment of the market. For example, we sell quite a bit of our category cable, a fair ton amount of it. We do sell quite a bit of our bulk fiber. So in all, I think our sales are pretty strong across the board for both copper and fiber bulk cable in both aspects.
Yeah, I guess Hugo is really, hit the nail on the head. It's pretty broad at this point, and we really, I'll give you a few examples of myself. I have a customer up in Washington, and they are working with the Washington government, Washington State, and AT&T. They're building up the cell phone tower for the disadvantaged community. So they have 2,700 sites. Each site require for like 2,100 pieces of patch cable. For that alone, and we provide a lot of patch cable. Another project for Chevron, they are doing a lot of their site construction. It takes a lot of 3-jacket, double armored cable. We never carry that, but through customer requirement, we were able to find solutions for them. The most recent one, we got involved with the biggest steel mill construction in West Virginia. That construction is $3.8 billion, and they just started with the cabling. So we first order, we ship out $40,000 to $50,000 of 24 fiber armored. So it really varies, depends on the project. But overall, we are doing well in every aspect of products.
Excellent. That sounds really, really good. Last question for you, gentlemen. Can you give us a general idea of what vertical cable is focusing on the most for the next, say, 3 to 5 years, if that's something you can speak to?
I'll take this one, Hugo.
Yes, sir.
Again, we are focused on the end-to-end solution of both copper and fiber. And, if you kind of imagine a pyramid, on the top of the pyramid, there's a name brand of the world. We don't touch that. But in the very bottom, there's so many bottom feeder. They focus on competing on pricing alone. Vertical cable, which sits right in the middle. And I jokingly in the trade show, I say VC stands for very cool or very comfortable. If a customer sees the value we bring on the table, they come to us for low voltage cabling solution. We can make their life very comfortable, and they love to do business with us because we deliver, via quality products, just-in-time inventory, and the best customer service that we provide. And we're still working on improving all those. Call us stupid and naive, but we don't scout the other people's game. We make sure that we do well on our basic skills, and we are focused on helping customers who do the military project, who do the biggest commercial project, who do school project, you name it, and we provide warranty for all of those.
That sounds really, really good. Thank you so much for that, Francis. And thank you both for answering all of those questions for us today. And I'd like to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. And if anyone has any further questions, please feel free to contact your sales rep or email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned and shown here today, please remember that this webinar presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel so we could all view it again. You guys, I so appreciate your time today. I will reach out and see if we could do this again, perhaps in the fall, and see what's going on. And until then, thank you guys very much and have a fantastic day.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.